What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So today we have the first official day for Modern Warfare 3. I'm going to go over all the details, everything that you need to know, whether you played the game, you haven't played it. Got a brand new blog post which covered the brand new patch notes, which I'll also be going over in today's video. Feel free to also check out the last post and yesterday's video if you missed those. Before we get into today's topic, a quick word from our sponsor, Messy Modding Store. It's a store that provides any and all Call of Duty services. They can even get you exclusive operators and bundles such as the Nuke operator. They also unlock all the cosmetics in a legitimate way without using unlock tools or mods. Just check out Messy Modding. The link will be down in the description. So with Call of Duty releasing in New Zealand, there have been a lot of glitches and other ways where you can actually get early access no matter what platform you're on, no matter what region you're in. All you have to do is join a friend who's currently in a lobby. Just join their session. Once you're in there, you can back out. You have your own lobby, and now you can start and play whatever you want. It's literally that simple. Cool thing is Call of Duty is not fixing it or patching it in any sort of way. We got to see multiple playlist updates roll out throughout the entire day, changing and tuning and adjusting a lot of different things. But this was not one of them, so it seems like they sort of know people are able to get on early, but they are allowing it. Anyways, let's go ahead, let's talk about the new content that we have. So I'll let you enjoy some gameplay while we go over the brand new blog post and talk about the patch notes. So I have two different sections here, one for campaign and one for multiplayer. I'm not going to cover the campaign one because it's just bug fixes, and not many of you guys are probably even going to care about campaign anymore. But with multiplayer, we have some visual changes that they have added. They added a stroke to player nameplates to improve the visibility, making it so much easier to spot your enemies. You can now see them if they're hiding in bushes. You can see them if they're in corners or if they're in darker areas. They're just a lot more visible, and you can tell from here compared to the beta gameplay that we had. You will not mistake them for your teammates anymore. Also did another change with the font and contrast of the score event text on the HUD to be less obstructive, so that way it doesn't bother you and doesn't stand out all too much while you are playing. They also did some other features which I have found to be big W's, and here's some of the new features. They added a HUD element that displays the player's current streak after each kill. This will pop up in the bottom center. This is especially helpful for those of you when you're in those situations where you're just a couple off a nuke and you want to know how many more kills you need to get that. It'll end up popping up as you get eliminations. The next thing that we have is going to be match event pop-ups. Now feature the respective player's equipped calling card, which will appear in the top right hand side of the screen. So if you get like a triple kill, go on a streak, instead of just having that little icon that'll just say your name, it'll now show your calling card. The next thing that we have, it says skillful player achievements such as Kingslayer, Collateral, all those will now display a metal splash on the player's HUD, which you'll probably see here from this gameplay at some point, but it's a pretty cool feature. I like the sound of it as well. And then they also adjusted tac stance. So it says tac stance toggle state is now indicated by a widget in the lower right area of the HUD. This will replace the previous prompt that will keep popping up on screen every single time you aim in, which was pretty annoying if you played the beta. And then they also did something else with match stats. So these are now available in-game. All you have to do is pull up the scoreboard, and it's now in a new tab where it shows you your statistics on your current performance, how you fare compared to past performances, and your overall stats in general. This is something that could be very helpful if you're like spectating in Search and Destroy and you just want to pull up your stats, check on them real quick before the next round starts or whatever it may be. But the next thing that we have is also detailed stats are now viewable while choosing an attachment in the gunsmith, so you'll be able to see all the different types of details that you'll need to know about that weapon. And just a reminder, weapon tuning has been removed from the game, so this is sort of like a replacement feature for that, to see exactly what you're going to be getting, what you're going to be missing out on when it comes to your detailed stats while you're putting on these different things. But they also did a bug fix. Players will no longer be unexpectedly prompted to choose a loadout after earning multiple rewards. There's also map changes that they ended up doing. So they added spawn anchors to many maps in order to influence the flow of combat in the direction of each map's intended design. In TDM, team-owned areas are now more favored by spawn selection and resistance to enemy pressure. So basically, they will now sort of spawn you closer to teammates wherever they may end up being, depending on the area they took. In domination, the spawn selection is going to be more resistant to enemy pressure on flags, but will improve the consistency by favoring owned flags. So you'll still spawn in if you own that flag area. One thing they didn't address here is there is a big spawn glitch going on in Quarry right now, and that's, I believe, happening only in Hardpoint, but it's glitching to where it will spawn both you and the enemy team at the same exact time in that same exact spot. So basically, it's like a big spawn trap type of lobby, and it's unintentional. No one needs to do anything. No one needs to find a glitch spot to sit in or set up any like deployable covers or any of those weird glitches that we saw in the past. This just randomly happens at any point. Whenever the hard point is at a particular location, I'm guessing when it's in the other side of the spawn, and it won't spawn them there on the hard point, so it just spawns everyone in that same exact spot. But they haven't addressed this yet. I did tweet it out. I saw multiple people also posting about this as well. Other than that, the current other maps that we have changes for are Estate. They added frontline logic to prevent unintentionally frequent spawn flips. Favela decreased the priority of spawn points near the shacks and construction site. High Rise decreased the priority of spawn points on the Actibase and Phonic tunnels. So the beta maps have already been taken care of, but these other newer ones, whichever issues they have, they'll continuously do updates and fix them. But for the gameplays, they adjusted footstep volume to further distinguish enemy and friendly players. They added an option in the settings to double tap the ADS button to activate tack stance. So if that's how you want to activate it rather than pressing, I think, down on the D-pad. Just a tip, I wouldn't fully disable this because you may need it for the mastery challenges. But going on to the next thing, they refreshed the default loadout options with a wide variety range of content. They also did a movement update. Sprint input while sliding will now cancel the slide animation. They decreased the ADS time penalty while jumping by 20%. Then they changed two different settings. The first one with the tack stance, like I said, and then they added new options to slide and dive behavior. So you can now make it like MW 2019. You can tap to slide to disable the dive, or click tap to dive to disable the slide if you don't want to overlap between the two. But for weapons and attachments, here are the changes. We got the SVA 545 AR, got a full buff, so increased bullet velocity, increased the rate of fire, increased the lower torso damage, but also decreased the recoil. So it's a big buff for this. They did that with pretty much all the ARs. And the MTZ also got an increase in the bullet velocity as well as the max damage range. The MCW increased the same exact things, and then they decreased the minimum damage from 24 to 21. And then the Striker SMG got a huge nerf once again. And this time they nerfed the maximum damage, the near damage, the far damage, the minimum damage, and the ADS time. As well as for the Holger 26 LMG, they increased the bullet velocity. And then for the Pull LMG, they increased the bullet velocity as well, decreased the maximum damage range. And for the Annihilator Bullpup Conversion Kit, increased bullet velocity. They decreased the rate of fire. For the MTZ Interceptor, they increased the bullet velocity, increased the hip fire spread, and decreased the ADS time from 330 to 265. For the MCW, increased the bullet velocity, the hip fire spread, and then they decreased the ADS time. For the Longbow Sniper, they increased velocity by 13%, swap full auto crosshair for expected semi-auto crosshair, increased flinch when shot by enemy players to align with other sniper rifles, and they increased the hip fire spread while moving and during sustained fire. KV Inhibitor increased bullet velocity by 5%, increased the hip fire spread, and then they also increased the flinch when shot by enemies by 18%. So that was a pretty big nerf. Then the Wasp Singer also got a nerf. Swap semi-auto crosshair for expected full auto. Decreased maximum damage range. Decreased maximum damage from 27 to 25. They did the damage range as well. And then they did the upper torso hip fire spread and all that. And then the Renetti handgun also got some changes. Swap semi-auto crosshair. They slightly increased the recoil during sustained fire, decreased the minimum damage, and for its carbine kit, they swapped the semi-auto crosshair as well. They increased the ADS speed by 200 milliseconds, increased the sprint to fire from 80 milliseconds to 100 by 25%. The Core 45 handgun decreased the maximum damage and decreased the near medium damage range. And then for the ammunition, we have the high velocity rounds, decreased bullet velocity multiplier, decreased sniper rifle bullet velocity multiplier. Low grain rounds, they also decreased everything for that, like the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil. High grain rounds, they did the same exact changes. And then for the optic attachments, they decreased the ADS time penalty across multiple optic types, the dots and holographics, the 2.5s, the 4 and the hybrids, as well as the scopes. And then for the muzzles, only one of them, slightly increased ADS penalty for flash hider, compensator, and muzzle brake types. And then they did some perk changes. Demolition vest for battle rage will now only restock up to 1 use. Tactical pads for the boots increase slide velocity, replacing the slide distance advantage. The tac mask has added immunity to flash grenades that you may throw at yourself. Field upgrades, trophy system, mosquito drone killstreak will no longer be targeted and destroyed. Medbox updated description to better reflect functionality. And then for the killstreak, so enemy killstreak activations will invoke the announcer's voice lines. And then you have the Guardian decrease the volume owned by teammates, increase environmental audio occlusion, address an issue that causes a player's HUD to disappear until respawn after being stunned by it. Counter UAVs, player within interior areas will no longer receive not enough space to call in error. And then the Juggernaut Recon decreased the mag size from 20 rounds down to 8 mags, which is pretty big. And then for the vehicles, the NSTV increased traction, improve handling on slippery surfaces. But these are pretty much all the patch notes you need to know about. They did say if you see any issues, you face any problems, definitely contact them on one of their handles, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Going on to the last topic that I do want to talk about in this one is also missing content. So along with some of these issues, players have been reporting that some of their content has not carried over. For example, the beta rewards. Those are the major issue that a lot of players have gotten to level 34. They had calling cards, rewards such as the Jabber Operator skin. All that unfortunately didn't carry on over. The good news is they have acknowledged that as an issue. They are working on a fix. So if you did play the beta and you don't see your rewards, just give it some time. They will end up fixing this and granting that into your account. Speaking of missing content, there's going to be 4 additional maps that are going to be coming in sometime within a week to 2 weeks. And that's going to be Shipment, Shoot House, Farm, as well as Mercado, Las Almas. These are going to be added at some point into the game in their own playlist. So first, right now, they're trying to let everyone enjoy these brand new maps. Play those out. In around a week or 2 from now, that's when they're going to be adding the rest of this content. So for those of you guys who are wondering why it's not in the game already, they're just waiting to add them. But that's all that I have for you guys in this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully I'll be seeing you guys back on the channel again. Peace.